All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday night. It's time for the latest Unhinged Tech Show with myself, Tech Odyssey, and English Dan with English Dan Reviews here. So we can talk to you about the latest and greatest tech on Wednesday night.
That's right. Hang on a minute. I'm trying to get the YouTube thing up. No, don't start talking. Go to the actual link. Come on. Dude, my phone has not stopped for I don't know how long.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you're popular today, I guess.
I am. I'm very popular today. My internet seems to be not very good today either.
Oh. So I got my Cam Link hooked up, and this is the thing I was telling you about that was a whopping like $27 I got on Amazon.
Send me the link for that.
Yeah, so I had ordered that Elgato, whatever it is, however you pronounce it, Cam Link, and it was like $140 or $129. I got it off of Amazon, and El Jefe Reviews, Jeff told me about this whenever he saw that I was complaining. I had ordered it, and it showed up like a week late.
Yep.
So he's like, here, order this one. This one works well. This is what I use. So I picked this up for like $27. Pop it in, and you don't have to install any software. You don't have to do anything. You just plug it into the MacBook. Well, I mean, it's USB. It's HDMI, so you have to. You plug. Yeah,
HDMI cable.
Yeah, the USB goes in, but since the MacBook Pro only has the USB-C, you have to have a converter.
The dongle.
But that thing that we have, the Anchor little hub thing, it plugs right into the back of that and works no problem. So actually, I'm pretty darn happy with it. The only thing I'm concerned about is since I'm using my camera and it's on a battery, I don't know when it's going to die.
See, that's what I've done tonight because I'm planning on using mine that way, and I've been and bought a dummy battery. I'll send you the link for it if you want, but it's you just means you basically power your camera from a plug. So
okay.
No battery needed.
Yeah, I need something like that so I can plug it in because, I mean, I'm sure this is probably going to last 20 or 30 minutes, but seeing as it's older, I mean, it is the A7 II. I don't expect it to last an hour. So I'm just kind of testing it out right now and like maybe 30 minutes and I'll switch over. Hey,
Alex, trying to convince the crazy Russian to come in here on next week's show. Try it.
He can come on right now. Shoot.
No, he said he can't do it tonight. I tried, but he actually blew me out. He was like, no, mate. He told me, he said he'd get one of his Russian spies to come and kill me if I forced him on tonight. I can't do that.
Well, maybe next week then. That'd be a good show. I was just over hanging out on the Technically T show, not Technically T, Technically Speaking, all these technicallys with Scott Peachy, and he's got Ken on there tonight, Original Dobo. So I was watching them go, talk and go back and forth for a little bit. But yeah.
Let me just turn this red light. Notice how I'm like bright red.
Yeah, I've got these lights on behind me. I changed those to red, but there's not a whole lot going on this week. I mean, there's a lot going on this week, but there's not. I mean, last week was the Nord, and it was the Velvet, and it was the Republic of Gaming 3 Asus phone, and now it's just kind of Samsung leaks that are coming out. And of course, if John Prosser is to be believed, and all the other stuff that's pointing to the August 3rd release date, it looks like next week we might finally have the elusive Pixel4a.
Maybe, because I know, as I just told you in a message, I don't know whether you've had one of these invites yet, Alex, but they're still inviting people to Team Pixel today. So
yeah, that's a little weird.
It throws me off a little bit.
Yeah,
so maybe they stagger out how they send them out. Because I seem to remember, like last year, maybe the year before, people were getting them after launch.
I think there was two waves. There was like the initial. Well, of course, there's the ones. I mean, I'm sure that there's people out there like Mr. Mobile. I'm sure they have their embargo units right now.
They'll have theirs right now. Yeah, for a week.
Us Team Pixel plebs, we probably will get ours on launch day, is what I would kind of imagine. It'll probably show up that day because it's not going to be available to buy that day. I mean, I think last time when the Pixel4a came out last year, and the Pixel4, they came out, and then like 2 or 3 days later, they were available in the store. It was a couple of days after the fact. So I would imagine it is. It's just getting out in hands of real reviewers and not paid spokesmen who do this stuff all the time. So it helps build some community, some street cred out in the community. If we sit there and say, hey, objectively, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically free marketing for them at the cost of devices.
Absolutely. Alex has just mentioned this down in the text, and I was just going to mention it too. You keep getting this gray square box coming up over your face and saying portrait.
Oh, yeah, that's my camera. It does that. I didn't know y'all could see that.
Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah, I see the box right there myself. Every time I move.
Yeah, because you've got the autofocus on a bit.
But I don't. I have it on manual focus, so that's weird why it's doing that.
Don't know.
Well, here, I'll make life easy, and I'm going to switch over to this camera.
Justin, I've got a 5-page review coming out tonight. But spoiler is that I love the LG Velvet.
It's not a spoiler. I mean, it's a darn good phone. I like it a lot, too.
It's very good. And at $599, I think it's pretty well priced. It's not overpriced. It's not cheap, but it's not overpriced either, because you're getting really good build quality with it. That's what I find with it. To me, I know you've not held one, but it feels just like a Galaxy S20.
It feels super premium. Like, typically when you get a mid-tier device, like, that's one of the biggest things is the phone just doesn't feel like a premium phone. The TCL kind of felt like a premium phone. It felt a lot better than most mid-range phones, but the LG Velvet, fit, form, and finish, it looks identical and feels identical to anything in the $1,000 range, which is really one of the most impressive things about it, because that's not the experience. It's like movie magic, like Disney used to do with his movie magic. If something takes you out of the scene, it's worse. It's gone. It's all about getting you immersed in the experience. So when you have a phone that looks and feels and operates just like a flagship phone, your brain and your mind aren't sitting there saying, "Hey, this feels like a cheap phone."
Correct. I'm really, really impressed with it. It's a reboot. It's like a soft reboot by LG, and they're going in the right direction. What they need to reboot next, and they've not done a bad job with Velvet UI, as they call it on this. It's very similar to the V60, apart from it's got a built-in native screen recorder, I believe, and then it's got that 3D audio engine by LG. But they need to keep stripping it back and get rid of the garish icons and things like that. I'd be happy if they went with it. LG, if they went with a more stock look, I think they'd sell more phones.
They probably would. And the thing is, LG has picked a good time to pivot. There's a lot changing right now in the smartphone sector, and there's no way, there is absolutely zero way LG can sell a $1,000 phone right now. They can't.
No.
So I think they saw the writing on the wall and realized that their dollar value is more down in the mid-tier price range, where there's not a clear front runner, because all the people trying to compete in the mid-tier sector are like mom and pops. They're not. It's not iPhone. It's not Samsung. Samsung makes a million different phones, but they don't focus on their premium phones being in the mid-tier. So if LG can pivot themselves to where they can release a bare bones like upper end phone and also a high end mid-tier phone, I think that they have a lot of wiggle room to operate. And I got to tell you, the V60 and the Velvet have been two of the most impressive devices that I've used this year. I love both of them. I
carry the V60 with me every day. I love it. I don't know what it is. I couldn't actually tell you what I love about that phone. Like, there's not a specific thing. It's a good overall package, I find. I really, really do enjoy using it, which is odd because
I've been using it alongside my Z Flip. These are the two that have my SIM cards in them right now, and I notice no difference. I use them both interchangeably throughout the day, and I enjoy both of them. So having a phone that feels and can keep up with my normal expectations for when I use a $1,000 to $1,400 phone at the $599 price range, I give LG thumbs up. And the thing is, I've had mixed feelings about LG over the years.
Me too.
Their phones are always hit or miss, and I talked about that.
T5, it was like,
there's always something.
Yes.
They do certain things right, and then there's always these things where it's like, why did you do this? Like the Hand ID thing with the G8.
And it does have one of those, maybe two of those. I've got in my review, I mentioned it. And there's a big miss, I think, on this. When you talk about Velvet, what is velvet? When you touch it, it feels really.
They should have put a matte finish on this.
Well, it's not just that. They should have put a matte finish on the back. That's one thing, but they should have put a 90 hertz screen on it.
Smooth, velvety smooth.
Like velvet. There you go. I just don't understand why they would go across this rebranding and then not do that. Not that it makes a difference or it's a choppy experience, but it was a good selling point, maybe, or it just call it the velvet, but then don't put.
And Miss Spectacular Gadgets here. It is very frustrating. And the velvet's the same way. They're all carrier models. But
if your V60 is a T-Mobile one, they will unlock it for you because mine is unlocked and I'm using it on Sprint.
Honestly, they'll have a balance on them. I mean, we got review units. If they were to buy one, though, they would have to pay it off before they could get it unlocked.
Well, that depends if you're with T-Mobile. Some phones, they are like that. Some they're not. If you buy a OnePlus device from T-Mobile, they will unlock it the day you buy it.
I never knew that.
Yes. It's been like that ever since OnePlus came out on T-Mobile. Was it the same?
You hear they're already talking about the 8T?
Yeah. Well, they do every 6 months. It's coming, so it's only.
Right? It just. So, I guess it feels
4-megapixel camera on the rear.
I guess it feels just so soon because the Nord just launched last week, so it's like it's kind of in the middle now. Normally instead of having all this hype for the Nord, where basically we knew about the OnePlus Z at the time that the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro came out, so we were anticipating it, and then it seemed like it got pushed back. So here we had to wait like 2.5 months before the Nord got here. And now we're already just 2 to 3 months away from the 8T coming out, which is this year has just flown by. It's crazy, man.
Considering it's been such a boring year and nothing's happened. And we've all been at home for months, and it's been an odd year. Alex, of course, I'm giving if you go onto my Instagram, Alex, and message me along with the other 3,000 people that message me on there but don't pay any attention to me, and I'll put you in the queue. And you will get a free phone one day.
One day. You can send them my G8 in like 8 years.
yeah, I'll still be here. Tobes, is the V60 better than the Velvet?
I mean, in manner of speaking, they're different.
They are a different phone, even though they do almost exactly the same thing. But if you like wired headphones, the Velvet's no slouch, but it doesn't have the DAC. That the quad DAC in the V60 is not in the Velvet.
I gotta come to their rescue a little bit though, because the DAC that they have for the Velvet sounds infinitely better than most of the other wired phones that I've listened to. Yeah. Like I got this pair of IEMs in-ear monitors, which I mean, you really want a good DAC, you want a good headphone connection on your phone so you can listen to them and really enjoy the music. Yeah, I plugged it into the TCL 10L. And I was ready to send these in-ear monitors back to the company because they sounded so poor. And then just on a whim, I plugged it into the Velvet and I was listening to it. And it was a night and day difference. So just so you know, not all headphone jacks are created equal. And if you have a lower end phone, it probably doesn't have high quality audio coming out of the headphone jack. So the Velvet, albeit not 32-bit quad DAC, does sound really good.
Well, the V60's DAC is not as good as the V50's either. No.
But the V60 also has the DTS-X on there as well, and the Velvet does not. And the DTS-X does kick it up a notch.
Yes. But the V50 was a better sound experience. Also had slightly better cameras as well, the V50.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and I got to say, though, I was really impressed with the V60 cameras, especially for the price, because I think the reason LG's cameras look so good this year is because Samsung's cameras look so bad. Because we had so many, like normally Samsung is like the standard bearer in the Android world when it comes to cameras. And since the OnePlus 8 wasn't anything to write home about, and the Samsung S20 series was not anything to write home about, the LG by proxy just looked better than I think people expected it to be.
Far better value. I've said it last week, I've said it the week before, and I'll say it again. The V60 for me is a better phone than the Ultra.
I want to go back and address something just so I can say. So TJ commented a minute ago about how the most big YouTubers get the Google phones and, hush, hush until it's time to go. And that's how it is. That's one of the things with being like, let's say a flagship reviewer. I mean, Dan and I are like budget series reviewers whenever it comes to like the YouTube world. These people like Mr. Mobile, who else? Like MKBHD, John Rediger, all these people who are like real big guys. Yeah, they get these things like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before they come out. That way, people are like, oh, how do they have a review on launch day? Well, they've had the phone for 2 weeks already, and they've been putting it through the paces. So that way, on day one, it's ready to go. Whereas, Dan and I just got the Velvet last week. No, it would be irresponsible for us to do a full review of a phone in just a short period of time, because you don't have time to use it. You don't have time to learn the quirks, see how good it actually is. I mean, we got to test things like battery life, like performance, like cameras. There's so much to it that goes into it that a lot of people may just take for granted and go, oh, it's a phone. What does it do special? Well, if somebody wants to know about the phone and go buy it, then it's what we do is go through and put it through the paces.
I'm kind of glad we didn't get them early Korean versions, because I went back again looking today, and every one of them say that they've got performance issues on that Korean version, and mine has none. They say when they swipe up to multitask, it can hang and lag. Mine don't do that.
Maybe they've addressed it with some software improvements, but the thing is I've not noticed one single performance-based issue when it comes to mine.
It's not hung up once at all. The one thing I have had once, the screen stopped responding, and I had to power it off and power it on, and it came on. But it did it once and not done it since.
That can happen though. I haven't had that happen, but that to me, if it did it repetitively, would be concerning.
It was strange because it was only the icons on the screen. I could pull the menu down and everything, and I could do multitasking, but I couldn't press any of my apps on the actual screen. It was weird. It was like, okay.
I just realized that my name still says the Highlander from the Saturday Night Tech Fight the other day.
The Highlander.
There can be only one, man. I don't change my name. Here we go.
Really, the Highlander.
Nobody even said that. I've been saying
paying attention to you. That's why.
I've been saying that for weeks on these Saturday Night Tech Fights. So there can be only one. Of course, I'm still not that one. I haven't won yet. But you didn't like the Highlander?
Yeah. In 1980.
Yeah. Did you watch the TV show? I love the TV show.
It was awful.
What? Well, I was like 10 when it came on, so it was appealing to me.
It was awful.
Anyway, so question here from Drew. Yeah, this is a big thing. I actually canceled my hotel reservation in Las Vegas a couple hours ago. So it is disappointing, and I know we've talked about this a little bit over the last couple of weeks because Dan and I were still excited about going. We were planning on going if they had it. It is not a surprise to me that they canceled it. In fact, it's very responsible of them to go ahead and cancel this. And here's the thing. It's worse for it sucked personally for Dan and I because we want to go. Not only because we can go make connections with these different manufacturers, but we're giant technology geeks. We love all the electronic stuff. So being able to go to CES is like a huge deal. And I got to go this one time this year, and I've been looking forward to going back since the day I left last time. It is an amazing experience. But that being said, there was never a point in my mind where I didn't think that it wouldn't be canceled. It's just that I had hoped that it wouldn't be. It's just one of those things where
yes, Alex. Yes.
Yeah, we were going to share a room together, but we we're going to have two different beds. Ideally, we were going to use both of them, but there's going to be two there. Zach, welcome. Glad to have you here. And yeah, so Zach here, he and I got to hang out quite a bit while we were at CES. We had some epic sushi. And we went to, Ken, Dobo, and I, we were talking about this on the Friday night show. How
I heard all about this.
Yeah. So we went to the sushi. It's like an Asian bistro restaurant.
$300 of sushi.
Oh yeah, Zach knows his sushi. I'm very simple when it comes to my sushi repertoire. I'm like, all right, I want an eel and cucumber roll. I want a California roll, maybe some spicy tuna. And he's like, I want 2 of these. I want 3 of these. I want 1 of these. He wants 2 or 3 of these. I'm like, hey, you know what you're doing, dude.
Gross.
Oh yeah, we also went. So in between Mandalay Bay and the Luxor, there's like this, over the road tunnel thing. It's like a skywalk, but it connects the 2 buildings together. And there's a lot of restaurants in there. And there was this Irish pub that was in there, and like one or two nights we went in there and ordered, like, they have the fish and chips. But it was a neat little pub there. So we hung out quite a bit, and that's the greatest thing. It's cool getting to see all this tech, but it's great getting to hang out with all of your tech buddies at CES. And it's like all day long, you're running. And then in the evening, it's like you're hanging out, you're going here, you're going there, you're stuffing in a cab or Uber and going here. It's just such a great experience.
Changing the subject slightly. Have you watched Dave West's video on the OnePlus 8 Pro with the portrait video that they've managed to get working?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Dude, that is insane. Yeah, that's how good it is. Like, he showed me a video last night, and he took a picture in his room, and you could use that instead of a camera to do your head talks and have the blurry background. It is so good.
Yeah, I've experimented with my S20 Ultra here because I'm working with Deity right now. They're replacing my microphone because they think there's something wrong with it, which is why I keep having the issues.
Yeah, I stopped using mine because I didn't not impressed with my Deity mic.
When it worked with the original like 6-inch cable that came with it, it sounds fantastic. But the problem is I can't get it where it needs to be. And I realized here with these shotgun microphones, if you put a shotgun microphone and mount it directly on your camera, the audio does not sound good.
No.
You have to get it like up on a mic stand and like point it down, and then it sounds really good.
At which point you may as well have your other setup in there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I can't really plug my Yeti into the camera because it's a USB mic, and that's 3.5.
Plug it into the side of your MacBook.
Yeah, maybe I'll give that a whirl.
All the time before I got this PC, I'd plug my Yeti would be plugged into the MacBook, and I just had a little adapter for it. It was fine, worked fine, and then I plugged the 3.5 into the side of the camera. Well,
I might try that and see how that goes. But I mean, I already got this one. It's like a $300 microphone I got for free, so I'm not going to like throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm going to see if I can get it fixed or get it working properly. But
Dave, sorry, I hate to just jump in a minute. Dave, that was OnePlus, not the guys that work on the Gcam. That was the actual OnePlus guys who got the portrait mode working on that video. I don't believe it. I don't believe it if it is. No way did they create that. I am shocked if that's the truth. Let's see.
So, yeah, one thing I want to highlight here with what Drew said regarding Dave's videos. His videos are crispy AF, and I can echo that sentiment 100%. And Dave West is single-handedly the biggest advocate for OnePlus cameras, I think, on the face of this planet.
And they don't take care of him, and that is what annoys me about them.
Yeah, I was really
disappointed that they have seen everything he does. There is no doubt about it, but they just don't care because they're arrogant.
I think when the OnePlus 8T comes out, instead of getting that professional photography guy his name's probably like Lars or something that nobody's ever heard of, some like third-rate National Geographic magazine camera guy, they should get Dave West up on stage.
That explains it down there. They now have a new camera team in Taipei.
Oh, okay.
That explains a lot. Well, that makes me quite excited for the 8T Pro, because if they're going with dual 64-megapixel cameras on the back, and that team, you need to watch that video. It's so impressive. If that team are going to be working on them, that could be a major change for OnePlus from having a good camera to a really, really, really good, maybe class-leading camera, especially for video. That video on that OnePlus 8 Pro that he's got is better than the iPhone.
Well, I got to say, I want to comment on the Nord real quick here, because from what I was hearing with the Nord is that the Nord camera is not that impressive. Our cameras are not that impressive. And
one of them is. Have you seen the state of that macro camera? Why would you do that?
Is it a 2-megapixel?
Yeah, but it's a really bad 2-megapixel.
All 2-megapixel macro cameras are all bad.
Yeah, but I mean, this one is particularly bad. Like, really, it looks like it's like, I don't know. It's like dot matrix. It's just horrible. It's a camera.
If you get a macro lens, that's great because you're up close. So you're going to have larger, smaller stuff that's blown up. But you need the megapixels to fit the pixels in there.
So why not do what everybody else does? Get rid of the people need to stop putting these crappy macro cameras in, because all you need to do is put the software into the wide angle like they used to do before and get up close in the wide angle. Bang, there you go. You got your macro shots.
You need at least a 5. If you don't put at least a 5 megapixel camera in a macro, then it's dirt. It's not anything that's going to be exemplary. Yeah, you can see the image, but it's nothing that I would brag about. And they're very, it's just, no.
The only one I've ever used that was good was on that Redmi Note 9S. It had a 5 megapixel macro, and you could do video with it. It didn't have any stabilization, obviously, so you'd need to use it on a tripod. That was probably the best macro camera I've used on any phone. It was very, very good.
My first experience with the macro lens on a camera was actually the TCL 10 Pro, and I like it. I think that they did a good job, especially for a first run at it.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. It's better than it, though, the Note 9S.
Yeah. Hey, Grant. So, yeah, and that's the thing with OnePlus. They're doing some good things, and then every year there's an asterisk next to their camera that keeps them from. They want to be flagship, but it's like they keep putting emphasis in all these different areas and not enough on the camera. Or they'll put, the problem is they'll finally get one of them right, and then the other one, it's like, well, you slacked off again.
Yeah. Talking of OnePlus, and see people mentioning the Nord, and we mentioned the Nord having a crap camera. Did you watch Jerry Rig do his bend test and all that on that?
I didn't, but you told me about it, and I saw some clips where basically he goes like a freaking Dorito.
And then he tries to make excuses for it and says it's still a good phone. Every other phone or device he's snapped in half or made break, he roasts them. They go on what they call the shelf of shame.
Yeah, I remember the shelf of shame, because I want to say that the BlackBerry Mobile Key 1 went up there because the screen fell out of it and some other problems. I think that one went on the shelf of shame. I was like, this is embarrassing.
Well, you need to watch it, because it's kind of cringeworthy that you can tell he's trying to cover it. I don't think he expected it to break. So he's trying to make it sound like, hey, this is still a good phone. Don't worry that it snapped. Everything else is really good. It's like
everything's great until you snap it like a potato.
Yeah. Snap the phone, and you can tell he's doing something totally different. And then he brought out a look inside today where he stripped them all down. And again, he was talking about, it snapped at this point, but it's still a good phone, and I still think it's worth buying.
It's still a good phone, guys.
I just don't. It kind of put me off in that, because obviously he's being paid by OnePlus at some point, or he's got to be there's something going on for him to try and not shelf of shame a phone for snapping in half.
Yeah. I need to go back and watch it, because I've heard about it, and I've heard that it was very, very disappointing how fragile this thing is.
Yeah, it snaps at the volume because it's a plastic frame. It's not aluminum. So,
well, even Mr. Mobile, it doesn't look like plastic, apparently.
It doesn't. It's very shiny. But if you hold it in a certain light, you can see the bumps that plastic has, because it's not the smooth finish.
Yeah, I had watched Mr. Mobile's video on it yesterday, and he was talking about how somebody else pointed out to him that it was like a metal finish.
That was to Zach, by the way.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, I saw that Zach had put up today. He got his Godox Light set up, and Viper also bought one of those. And I want to say maybe it was Gary, Everyday Dad, or somebody, or the one that was recommending it. But I've seen a lot of recommendations on this Godox Light, and honestly, I'm thinking about picking one up myself.
They're not very expensive either, and I want the grid on it so I can control the light on me and keep my background dark.
Yeah,
these crappy soft boxes I've got here, I'm going to have some free ones for if anyone wants a couple of free soft boxes. Just let me know, because when I get my other one, you can have them.
Yeah, it's got that honeycomb diffuser in it that helps with all of that. And hey, Zach, how much was that thing? I can't remember what the price was on it, but it's like a one-stop shop light. And for what a lot of us do, especially when we're doing this or you're doing your talking head stuff, it's perfect because you get really, really good lighting with it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've got some softbox lights. I know you do. I'm lucky enough right now where I just have, the different lights I have set up, I can adjust in here. But this is still not ideal for some of the situations that I still need a light like that.
You know who's got a lot of nice lights? Alex, Red Skull Pro. He's got some serious lights set up in his place. He has 4 or 5 on at once in his room.
Yeah, that's
a lot
crazy.
of light. Dude, I'd be sweating like F.
It's funny. I had somebody the other day that pointed out to me. They're like, "Yeah, there's these 2 lights that are like glowing off the back of your picture, and it's right up here.
Yeah,
part of the picture." So somebody was like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's actually part. It's the space helmet light."
Yeah. So it's actually a light in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a light. It's just that those are the painted on lights. So
it's reflecting off the paint.
Yeah, so they already look brighter. They look like lights already, but then the light catches on them, and it looks. I mean, you can see the glow up there off the space helmet. I don't know. I wasn't gonna dime you out, Dave. It was just funny to me. I wanted to share that story, but I didn't want to say that it was you.
That light's $169. Is that what you just said, Michael Pepper? If it's $169, I will buy one tomorrow.
Zach says 2 diffusers plus grid. He paid $150 for the light and then $100 for the Godox softbox. So it looks like $250 in total.
That's Canadian, though, right?
I don't know. Maybe, but if it's if it's $250 Canadian, it's probably what, like
Canadian dollars. So
$210.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not bad. I might look into that with my next Amazon affiliate purchase. I bought 3 phones in the last week. So
my Motorola Edge shipped today.
Oh, nice. I'm really excited about that one. I almost bought it. I almost bought one, but you were already buying it, and I didn't want to do double coverage. Mm-hmm. And 2, since we're fixing to get the Pixel and I've already got the Velvet, I didn't want a third 765 chipset phone, and I just didn't feel like it was going to do like super great on my channel. So I went ahead and I bought a BlackBerry Storm because I never had one before. I was like the small generational gap where I didn't have one. And I've had a lot of people ask me about them, and it's the original slider that they had. I got one brand new in the box for like $50, so I went ahead and went for it. And then I also got a BlackBerry D-Tech 60 because I never had one of those before. And a lot of people have asked me, so I got that one brand new in the box for like $199, and then I got the other for $50. And then they had that ZTE Axon 10 Pro on sale for like $339, which is just unbelievable.
That is a good phone. The only problem with that, and the only thing that would put me off,
the software.
No, software is really stockish nowadays on the ZTEs. It's they don't have much of a skin on them. You're probably not even going to get one single security update, let alone Android 11.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Whenever it comes to software stuff, I know that there's basically not going to be any updates for it. But I had the
$30. That is a lot of phone.
Snapdragon 855. I mean, I know it's got like 1080p display on it. It's not Quad HD Plus, but it's going to be powerful.
Anything this year has proved we do not need Quad HD displays on phone. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says.
With everything that's in there, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage.
Hey, big house.
It's got everything. 330. And I'll buy it. I'll use it for a couple of weeks. I'll review it, take some video, and I'll sell it. And I'll still get $300 for it. So
should do. I'm actually I've been watching some videos because that Motorola Edge is actually out in the UK already. Mm-hmm. But it's only got 128 gig of storage, which is weird, whereas this one's got 256. From what I'm seeing of it, that may be my work phone going forward. I may just keep it and use it as my work phone. The cameras look half decent on it, like very good. And I've just got a feeling at $500, the XDA guys might get a hold of it.
I really want the Edge Plus. And I was turned off by the fact that it was Verizon only, and I don't have Verizon.
Yeah, so I did get one, but there's none for sale on Swapper from abroad. Dave, how much is the Motorola Edge Plus over there? Do you know off the top of your head?
We have Scott Peachy in here.
Scott Peachy, how are you, man? But yeah, if Dave can let me know, because if we can get them cheap enough, if you want one, I can get my dad to get one and send one over.
Huh. Well, we'll see. I might send another email to Motorola so they can tell me no again.
Syndrome.
Hey, I've got a connection in there, and every time I send her something, she's like, "Oh, hey, how are you? Glad to hear from you again. Sorry, we still don't have one, but I'll put your name on the list."
Yeah.
if I'm to believe her, my name is on the list for like 8 different phones.
Same with me with LG. That's how it worked. Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't have anything for you. No. And then Chris, oh yeah, no problem. Who was it who spoke to you? Oh, I'll get her to ship the phone direct to you. That'll teach her. Okay.
You remember I had to tell her off, and then she finally said, okay, we'll send you one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was so frustrated with dealing with them. And then
through Best Buy as well. That sucks. Let me see if I get a discount at Best Buy. Not that it matters, you know why, and I'm not going into detail, but I wonder if they're discounted.
Well, you let me know, because if you get a discount, I may have you buy it for me.
Yeah, let's have a look. We'll have a look now. I've not got.
I always wanted the original Motorola Razor, and it was one heck of a phone way back.
I had 2 of them. Oh, I had 3 of them. I had the very first one, and then the follow-up. The follow-up, I had 2 of those, and I did this with it to open it up, and it went all the way back and didn't come back forward.
I actually had an LG flip phone back then. It was my very first LG phone. It was actually my very first phone I ever bought on my own phone plan. Because I joined the military in 2001, and I had an Ericsson phone on my family's line. And then once I got back from my first deployment in 2002, I bought that LG phone. I totally loved that thing. It was great. Yeah. And then I never got a Razor. I just couldn't afford one. I mean, it sucks saying that, but back then, it was like $500 or whatever in the world it was. It was just too much for me.
No discount.
I remember like my first 2 or 3 BlackBerries, I ended up buying off of eBay because they were so expensive too.
Yeah, no discount on them. I just look now. The only discount you get is if you activate it today on one of their lines where you get $50 off. But it's available Friday there. That sucks.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm interested to try the new Motorola Razor, but the problem is it's only got a 7 series Snapdragon in it, and they want $1,500 for it. I'm sorry.
Have they done a follow-up to it, or is it the original, like the
No, they have 2 that are supposedly coming out. They have the Razor 5G based on the original specs, which is supposed to be the same as the original. It just has 5G, because I think the original had the 765, and this one's going to have the 765G in it. Yeah. And then they also have supposedly the Motorola Razor 2 in the pipeline. So they're basically doing what Samsung's doing and putting out a 5G version.
So no upgrades other than that.
And on top of that, the original Moto Razor doesn't only have like a 2800 milliamp battery in it. Like
very small.
Yeah.
They make some strange noises. The Moto Edge Plus is £1,049. Pounds?
That's like $1,250 over here.
Yeah, $1,250, $1,275. Ooh, gosh. The UK can keep the Motorola Edge Plus, thanks.
You know that they had that sucker on sale for a little while for like, wasn't it $6.99?
$100 it was, yeah.
I know. I had it in my cart. I almost bought it twice, and it's like I just can't. I'm not going to get a provision. I'm not going to go get a Verizon phone line so I can pay to test out this phone.
And have you seen a Verizon version of it?
Mm-mm.
So we were talking about bloat on the LGs. My days, the bloat that comes on the Motorola Edge Plus. There's got to be 50 apps on there. Got to be.
Hey, how's the battery life on your Velvet? Because I know I've talked to you about mine, and I'm notoriously bad at killing phones.
I get about 7 hours screen on time.
I'm barely getting 4.
Yeah, there's something wrong with yours.
I talked to Chris the other day, and I think we're going to have to switch this one out with the different one because I'm barely. And I have disabled background access on almost all apps. Mm-hmm. I have adapted battery on. I've been running the screen at 69 to 75% brightness. Yep. And I am only getting barely 4 hours out of it. And I don't understand. So I brought it up to him.
Yeah, same with Drew. Look, 6 to 7 hours. So,
and when I told him that, he said, yeah, that's like almost half of what most other people are getting. Like, that's bad. So
that is my primary. I'm using that for everything at the moment. Calls for work, looking up things, ordering stuff, emails. I'm not using my V60 as such, like I would normally do. I'm using that probably 75% of the day, and 25% is the V60. So,
that's what I'm using mine for. I'm using it as a primary, and yeah, sucker is dead by dinner time, and it's just driving me crazy. So I figured that was low, and I talked to him about it. And now talking to you and then seeing Drew's thing over there, I think I'm gonna ask him, like, I told him I'd test it for a couple more days.
Yeah.
And I even deleted Facebook. I deleted every extra app that I could that was on there that was preloaded.
Yep.
It's just not good on mine. So I think it's defective.
It's got to be.
I don't know. I'm really curious about the Pixel. I think if everything holds true and it comes out on August 3rd, it's going to be an exciting week next week.
I agree, Dave. That is ridiculous. He sent me a message on Twitter. Sorry.
The G8's a good phone. I love the G8. I bought it whenever it came out and totally loved that phone. There's nothing wrong with it. It's still a good phone. I mean, shoot, it's got a Snapdragon 855 in it. You can't. The thing is, nowadays with phones, if you get a flagship phone that's like a year old, there's really not that much difference this year, other than the fact that they're charging you more money so that you can have a 5G phone. If you don't, 5G is not essential. It's not even that great or even deployed in so many areas.
Oh, I did a video today. I will put it on Twitter. I forgot about it. Sat in the parking lot of the Vets because I'm going getting them some NextGuard, and I've got my Sprint V60 and my AT&T Velvet sat right next to each other. And I do a speed test, 5G speed test, because they're both showing 5G. I get 60 out of the V60, and then I get 40 up. And the AT&T one's still on go because it can't find a server. I'm like,
yeah.
Are you kidding? I mean, really?
Yeah.
5G is a con. And that's why a lot of companies are going with the 765, because you're still getting the performance out of the 765.
And it's integrated. It's all one chip. It's not a separate chip and modem.
Exactly. So, yes, Unnamed Review Guy, we have been using the AT&T 5G. It's very I'm
not going to say too many bad things about it. It's better than I expected. And we ran this speed test.
5G. The 5G is all right once you're in a full 5G area. It's when you hit that 5G, just kidding.
I haven't experienced 5GE, so I can't say. Yeah, I can't really say
more often than regular 5G.
Yeah, we're fully deployed 5G here for T-Mobile and for AT&T in these areas. So, Ian, you're in for a treat. It's funny. Yeah, he says he followed you on Twitter now, and I guarantee he won't show up next week, and he'll have unfollowed you by the weekend.
Probably. As long as you don't get offended, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, it was funny. I had said something earlier. I commented because Spectacular Gadget, she had mentioned that she was following you, and then that she somehow Twitter had unfollowed you for her. I'm like, don't waste your time. You shouldn't.
I saw that. That was great.
Oh, goodness. And she was like, man, I'd love to see you two guys in real life. It's probably hilarious. I'm like, we go back and forth all the time, but we're like best friends. So it's fun to go back and forth, especially, on Twitter and things like that, because it's entertaining. I mean, I get a good crack out of, making fun of you, but
it's great. The Poets, that's because in Los Angeles, you're on millimeter wave and you're very close to a ultra wide bandwidth. Here in Ohio, the only thing that's ultra wide is my ass.
That's
about it.
I'm glad that you said that, because as soon as you said the only thing in Ohio is ultra wide, I was waiting for an opening. I was just fixing to say it.
Unlucky.
Cover your bases. And Jason's here. Got a lot of people stopping by tonight. Thanks everybody for showing up. And so here's something I want to talk about briefly. We don't really know what's coming on August 3rd. I mean, I guess we know that the 4A is coming, but what about the Pixel 5?
That I would have agreed with. I could possibly still agree with it, because they'd get the newer chipset if they left it till, say, February. Even if they do go with the 7 series still, they'll get, is it a 785, the next one that's going to come out?
Yeah.
And they'd get that, which I wouldn't blame them if they did that, because you can't have a Pixel 4a on a 765 and then the Pixel 5 also on a 765.
Yeah, but I remember seeing all the leaks on all the renders, and they're talking about the Pixel 4a, the Pixel 5 having a 5G version and a non-5G version, or there's like several different models that are supposed to be in the pipeline.
Yeah, I just don't see them both sharing. The only difference between a 765 and a 765G is 5G. It's the same processor.
Right. So I don't see why that they would arbitrarily turn it off or put the 65 and not the G in there. It makes no sense to me why you would have one that's 5G and one that's not. Why make the different models?
But, well, it's probably cheaper. It makes it even cheaper again.
But I really wonder how much, because it's integrated into the chip. It's not like a 65 where you have a separate modem and a separate chip. It's one chip, and it's also more of a mid-series tier chip. So I just wonder really how much cost savings that there would be to justify having two different models. And I know we know that 5G is not that great or essential right now. So I could have seen if they skipped on it altogether.
I wouldn't be shocked if they released and went kind of head to head with Samsung next year.
Maybe.
Wouldn't show me at all. For the crap show that Samsung have had this year, they are wide open. So
I have to disagree here briefly with Alex, because the Snapdragon 675, albeit not a bad chip, is not the chip that Google wants to go with. It was fine for TCL, but once you look, having used the TCL 10 with the 675 or 665 and then going to the 765 now, there's a huge difference.
That is incredible, Dave.
Will you send you a picture of something?
I'm just going to hold it up. You probably won't be able to see it very well, but that picture there is the OnePlus 8 Pro.
Wow. Did you take that on a tripod, Dave? That has to be on a tripod.
That is insane. And I wouldn't mind this Snapdragon 675 because it's still an upgrade in the 4A from last year's 625, if I remember rightly. So
no, the 625 is old. I think the 670 is what was in last year's.
You sure? Let me go and Google this. Pixel4a.
The Snapdragon 670. Bam, I win.
Was it 670? I thought it was the lower one than that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not then.
Yeah. There is definitely a huge difference between the 675 and the 765. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be, but there is. It's a very tangible difference to me.
I wouldn't be shocked if they put a 725 in the 4A. I would not at all. And that's what was in the Redmi Note 9S. And that thing flies. Just
anything in the 7 series Snapdragon chipsets, in my mind, they're all money. They're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Now that you mentioned the dumpster fire that is Samsung this year, I think that we all expected, after the piss poor performance of the S20 lineup and the overpricing, that they would lower the prices going into the Note 20. And it looks like they're doubling down on their crazy and making more expensive phones.
Tim Cook's going to be sat there like...
Here's the thing. Normally, like, I complain, and I do, whenever it comes to these prices. I keep saying this is too much, this is too much, this is too much. And, I have to, because I have to advocate for what I believe in, that these phones are overpriced.
Yes.
At the same point in time, I still buy them because I'm a tech geek and I review them and I want the latest and greatest. They have officially, if these prices come true, officially priced them out of my price range.
They've lost it. They've totally just lost the plot.
They're like completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They're off the reservation.
And they were always $50 to $100 cheaper than an iPhone. And by the looks of it this year, they're going to be $50 to $100 more expensive.
I think they're going to be $100 to $200 more expensive.
Probably will be by the end of it, yeah.
But here's the thing. When they come out with the Note, it's not like when they come out with the S line, you get the S20, the Plus, and the Max. You're going to get the Note or the Note 20 Lite or whatever they're going to call it. You're going to get the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra. There's not going to be a $700 model or an $800 model that's going to compete. You're only going to have the super premium. And the thing is the light or the lesser model is still going to be a stinking grand.
Yes. Yeah, it's a joke. Hey, Ian, Alex, do you get sent stuff from Samsung, or do you still buy them yourself Alex always had to buy his Samsung stuff. They would never get back to him for some reason. Nearly 200,000 subs, and he just gets treated like an idiot. But
I would say that they don't get back with me, but he's got 10 times as many subscribers as I do.
Yeah, he gets. I don't know what it is. Some of them just treat him like an absolute turd at times.
You know what I found out? I mean, just as kind of like a tools of the trade thing that you learn as you ask people for things. The public relations industry is very much just like in real life. It's more about who you know and developing relationships.
Yeah.
There are some brands where it's like they won't send anything to anyone except for this. But if you know them or if you get in with them, then you can have significantly less and they'll work with you. And this happens every time these phones come out. There's always a one-off or a two-off. Yeah. Never in my wildest dreams would I imagine last year that LG would send you or me or a bunch of other people these phones. I mean, with this
4,000 subscribers, and I'm getting sent flagship LG phones.
And I think LG is getting wise to what's going on whenever it comes to like seeing what Pixel does.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to get these out in the hands of the everyday Joes like us. Yes, people look up to and they believe the things that come out of people's mouths when you see an MKBHD, a Super SAF, a iJustine, all of these people. Those are like the icons within the tech review world. But a lot of people, when they want to buy something, where do they go? They don't go to YouTube to watch the video. They go to Amazon and look at the Amazon reviewer comments. And that's more like our level.
Yes.
So we're the guy that sits at home. We go work our 8 to 5 job and we use this phone all day long. And we say, hey, this is wrong. I like this. It feels, I think, more genuine. But at the same point in time, they're not sponsoring us. They're not paying us anything. They're just like, here, take this, do with it what you will, and tell the world what you think about it. No strings attached.
See, there you go, Alex. They just don't do anything with him. Samsung seems to be a real awkward company to work with unless you sell your soul to become a Samsung member.
You know, I've actually know a buddy of mine who's got a few more subscribers than me, a couple thousand more than me, and they're sending him the new A3S camera, or Sony is not Samsung, but Sony.
What? Oh, a loaner though, right?
As far as I know, yeah. I think it's a loaner, but even not even being a loaner, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But all these people that I've been seeing when it comes to these cameras have like 1 million, 2 million subscribers. So it was just beyond me that somebody with 30, 35,000 subscribers is getting sent one of these to test out.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So that goes to show you cannot necessarily be the biggest kid on the block and still work with someone, but it's really difficult. And it's funny that they approached him.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me.
Yeah, I wish people would approach me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a big thing. Are you buying the A7 3S, Alex? Because obviously we are. Alex made a book called How to Make Millions on YouTube and sold lots of them. Do you remember that, Dave?
He
actually created it for him. Yeah, seriously, didn't you? Alex on the front with his money and his Lamborghini.
That's crazy.
I'm only kidding.
I like what I've seen. I really don't know a lot about cameras. Like I know, like, okay, you can tell me full frame or you can tell me DSLR or whatever. I know a little bit, but
my A61 today, trying to film the screen on this, I was getting the black bars all over it. It was just the scrolling black bars all the way through. So today I learned about ISO.
Oh yeah, ISO is important.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know the differences between the different lines, because if you tell me that like the A7 III has, or 3S or whatever it is, has a 12 megapixel sensor in it, I'd be like, or it's only a 12 megapixel camera. I'd be like, why would you pay $3,000 for a 12 megapixel camera? But then I was watching like a video that Sarah Dici was making on it, talking about the differences between like the A7, like the 3R, the 3S. There's like 3 different models. And like, yeah, if you're shooting video, she was saying that like having the lower megapixel camera is actually better because yes, low light versus if you doing still photography, that's when you want the higher megapixel camera. So I've just never dived down in the weeds when it comes to physical cameras because I've always used a phone. And that's a testament to what phones have done over the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been making videos with just a phone using a USB microphone plugging into the USB-C port for 3 years. And I've been happy every 6 months to get the new upgrade just because, the little incremental changes. But it is really overwhelming when you go from a smartphone to a full frame or DSLR camera, and it's like just the wheel alone and the buttons and the letters, and then nothing works automatically the way like it would with the phone. It's really it is really overwhelming.
Oh yeah. And see, like Alex there, you need to change the shutter speed. I have no idea how you do that.
I just learned the other day how to change mine from manual focus to autofocus so I could get the bokeh effect. But it's not intuitive because it's like, yeah, that sounds good. And there's like 3 different buttons for eye focus. And this whole time people were talking about eye focus. I thought it was like .ifocus, like an eye product. And no, it's like EYE. It's like eye focus. Because apparently it focuses on your eye to keep the autofocus. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just these little things that you learn. But since I didn't learn on a camera, I'm way, way behind the learning curve trying to use one versus using my smartphone where I just plug it in and hit the record button. So, but there's a huge difference.
Let me tell you though, that OnePlus 8 video of Dave's, you will see that, right? And I'm telling you, someone like me and you could get away with using that OnePlus 8 Pro with that new camera software. It's insane. Really is insane. It gives you that really nice blurred background, and it's just, and then the cutout is perfect. The picture he said, Dave, do you mind if I put your picture up that you sent me of you? He's a bit of an ugly bastard. Dave.
Okay, I did. You're just fatter.
Dave is like the Welsh version of me.
Yeah, y'all do look very similar. Yeah, I think a year or two ago before we
became I've never told Dave that. Somebody has said that before.
I thought y'all were the same person because you're both English. You both live.
No. He's Welsh.
Whatever.
He's not as good as me.
Well, you came over here and he's still there. So what does that say about you?
It means he's stuck in Wales and I'm allowed to be free.
He said, "Go ahead."
All right, let me find it. Let me find this. Hopefully it comes up good. You have to ignore the play symbol in the middle of it, but turn. Let me just rotate. I always turn that off.
One day.
Yeah, one day. All right. You see how that's all defocused in the background and he's cut out really well?
That is really good.
Yeah, that's just a still from the video. It's insane. You need to go.
Very happy. That could go as a.
That's his mugshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no jokes about sheep. With a face like that, Dave, it looked like you got caught.
You know what would be funny though? Yeah, if they did that, like they had a green screen when you go get booked in at the jail now, and you could pick what your background was, like designer mugshots.
Really?
Like, can you Photoshop the background of me at like my favorite barbecue joint?
Be here for the next 5 years. Alex, Dave doesn't sleep.
No, he doesn't. He's like me. Dave stays up all night long. Like me, I'm up till shoot, probably 2:30 in the morning every night.
Dave has you hands down. Dave goes to bed at like 6 and gets up at like 7:30 for the rest of the day. It's like, how do you even do that?
Doesn't he work evening shift though? I think he works evening shift.
He's on days right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I stay up unusually late.
Mm-hmm.
I will tonight. I
It's 5 hours ahead of the East Coast.
Yeah, Drew? Where do you live at? I
think it's Michigan. Are you Michigan?
He said it's 2:28 a.m. there. Oh, never mind. He was saying I thought he was up north. He was talking about where Dave was at. I was like,
England with a bunch of sponges hanging onto it is Great Britain.
Yeah, the poets. Yeah, he likes his cigars and he stays up late too. You know, a lot of times he and I will join Greggle's TV. He'll like to do like a midnight stream because, of course, it's 10 o'clock. Well, it's midnight for him out there, but it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning for me. And sometimes I'll hop on there and we'll just do we'll do a live stream thing and chat and talk with people and talk tech stuff. And I'll be like, all right, guys, it's 3:30 in the morning. I gotta go.
You won't get me there. Any of you guys on the West Coast ever want me to come and do anything with you? No.
We're already at an hour. We're at 59 minutes and change.
Wow. Yeah, that's going quick again.
It goes by so fast. You know, I was going to mention this earlier. I'm not recording a video tonight. I felt like crap all day. I've had a terrible headache. I almost wasn't going to do this tonight. I was going to tell you, but you didn't even hop on until it was time to start the show. But yeah, I'm not recording a video tonight. I already had to record a different video briefly this afternoon because I was confused. T-Mobile went ahead and accelerated their plan to shut off non-VoLTE phones.
I don't understand the amount of phones that are now just going to die on people.
So I thought that was going to impact my BlackBerry Key 2. I know that the Key 2 does not have Wi-Fi calling, but I thought that it didn't work with voice over LTE. Like, I know that AT&T does not provision them because they're not AT&T phones. They're very exclusive with their voice over LTE. If it's not an AT&T phone, even if it supports voice over LTE, it won't work. And I thought that was the case with T-Mobile. So I was researching and looking for like a few days. I saw some older stuff on Crackberry, and I could not get an answer. I believed that the Key 2, I thought that voice over LTE didn't work on T-Mobile. I thought it was going to shut off in January. So I made a video about that to tell people. And then doing some more research and talking to some people today, and then finding out, indeed, yes, it will work. It's just the voice over Wi-Fi that doesn't work. And then I was able to figure out how to test out. The Key 2 will be fine. So I made a video correcting that, letting people know, hey, it's going to work. But yeah, any phone that doesn't support voice over LTE starting in 2021, T-Mobile cut it off.
Gone. I mean, that's crazy.
I think the reason being, though, is they're really trying to move ahead with trying to get 5G basically everywhere. See, T-Mobile is a much younger infrastructure when it comes to phones. That's why they don't work everywhere. They started off with 3G and 4G, and they don't have those huge underlying presences like Verizon and AT&T and even Sprint that relied heavily on 2G and 3G. And as you see, Verizon has no plans in the immediate future to cut it off.
Yeah.
So I guess they're just trying to move completely into the 4G, LTE, 5G world and get rid of 2G and 3G altogether.
Yeah, it seems so.
Which, I mean, I get it because they're like less efficient and less effective for data transmission, but they're perfectly fine for voice. But you don't get HD voice over them.
Yep.
They must have some serious plans on really increasing the band, like their presence with 4G, LTE, and 5G over the next 6 months if they're going to shut that off.
Just what I don't understand is what are they going to do with all these customers that don't have a phone capable of that? All these ports aren't going to be capable of it. Like all your Xiaomi phones and things like that.
No, you won't be able to pick up a Xiaomi phone. You won't be able to pick up a Huawei phone. You won't be able. There's all these phones you're not going to be able to pick up and put your SIM in. They're not going to work.
It's yeah, Ian. It's already done. It's been done for about 2 months.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe 3 or 4 months.
I've got a Sprint store down the street where they've like putting up the sign now that says Sprint and T-Mobile on there together.
Yeah, and then they'll get rid of the Sprint altogether eventually.
Yeah. Later on, Alex. We'll see you. Thanks for stopping.
Yeah, Alex. I'll see you on here next week. You Russian bastard.
Is he Russian or I think it was like Ukrainian.
No, he's not Russian. I just tell people he's Russian.
I mean, they sound the same.
He looks Russian.
We'll go with it. Yeah, so I think Alex is going to be on the show with us next week. So if y'all want to see even more of us going back and forth, yeah, Alex is just as good at that as well. Yeah,
Alex cuts close to the bow.
I don't think we're going to get any monetization on the stream next week.
No. We'll see. He might not even come on. He's very shy when it comes to things like that. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
work on him.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not overly worried about it.
Dave West, you need to sort out one Wednesday night where have an argument with a wife or something and sleep on the sofa so you can come on here instead.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but yeah, it'll be exciting. I guess next week. So, what is next Friday?
Next week is Motorola Razor.
Isn't it?
It's probably going to be Pixel.
Well, no, I just mean as far as the day of the week.
Monday's the 3rd. So
yeah. So
Unpacked week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same day as Unpacked. So next week's going to be really exciting. Monday, supposedly the Pixel is going to come out, and if things hold up, I'm curious to see if we get our Pixels on Monday, because that's kind of how things went with the last 2 generations of phone. Like, they had the announcement that morning, and people were getting them in the mail that afternoon. Yep. So I'm really hoping that Monday I'll have a Pixel in my hands. I hope. But then Wednesday we have the Unpacked event. So next week we're going to have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about, because we'll finally know the prices. We'll finally know all the official stuff. We can talk about the Fold. We can talk about the Note 20. All the stuff that won't be rumors anymore. And of course,
it's going to be so busy.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. So I'm really looking forward to it. I am. So that's going to be cool.
We may have to do a couple of hours.
Huh?
We may have to do a couple of hours next week.
Yeah. I might have to make like a 2-hour show next week, or maybe do 2 nights.
Well, not good over 2 nights, but definitely a couple of hour show.
Yeah, we'll look at that next week, but there's going to be a lot to talk about. And then we'll have all the wonderful comparisons, because Dan's going to have his Motorola Edge, which is a 765 chipset. We're going to have the Pixel, which is a 765. We've got the Velvet.
And that's what I want to do. I want to do a 3-way video. Which one performs best? I think I know which one's going to perform best, but you just never know.
You never know. So yeah, next week is going to be really exciting. So I'm going to put the video announcement out sooner than the day of. I'll probably do that like tomorrow. I may even do it tonight, just to have it ready for next week. Make sure you set a reminder. Don't miss. Be here next Wednesday at 7:30 Central Standard Time. It's going to be exciting. Thanks so much for showing up tonight. Y'all guys have made my evening, because I tell you, I was close to not doing this tonight. I just felt like garbage. I don't feel great, but I have a horrible headache. And yeah, this whole last hour, it's just, as soon as we say this every week, every time we get on this show, we start talking, and it's just like, I feel better. I have energy. It's like I could not be thinking about doing it. So you guys,
last week,
yeah, you guys totally, changed my perspectives on this evening and made me feel better. So thanks a lot for showing up. Always a great time to be here, and we look forward to talking with y'all again next week.
Adios.
So y'all have a great week. Stay safe. Don't spend too much money on phones next week, and we'll see you next Wednesday night. So peace out.